Welcome to Anything Cricket. Let's talk. Well, they say it's not over till it's over. Well, it's over. And the guys are coming home. Win holder, Hartley Reid, Terry Inniss. You actually got a basketballer in the camp tonight. Interesting. Well, gentlemen, your reaction to the demise of the West Indies team at the 2022 World Cup. When I know you just can't wait because you predicted it all. Yes, you did. You were the one who said they didn't have a ghost of a chance or worse to that effect. But we're not going to dwell on that. We're going to start with our guests. And let's say the less frequent of the guests. Hartley is almost like a hometown boy now. But we're going to start with the basketballer. Terry Inniss, welcome to Anything Cricket. Let's talk. Your reaction to all that has happened over the last week or so in the T20 World Cup.
To say that I was surprised would be an understatement. Really and truly, we were heading downwards. It's just that I didn't expect that we would get so far down. I expected us to lose the game in the qualifying, but still qualify, and then just get beat up after that. But we didn't even get that far. So it's not really surprising. It is not anything that, because the rating is on the wall, really. It's just that we fail to look at the painting.
Hartley Reid.
Greetings, my friends, and I'm always happy to see you and know that you're with us, and even more pleased. But if this program had been done immediately after the cricket, a half hour after, I could not have joined you because I went fast to sleep. I literally went to sleep when West Indies got beaten because I felt the rock bottom. I felt the thump when cricket West Indies hit the bottom when we lost to Ireland and Scotland. Now remember, Ireland is a full member of the ICC now, so we cannot even call them a mini any longer. Ireland is a full member. They were there. Ireland and Afghanistan were the two last persons brought in. But the thing is, there is no way you can go to play cricket and take a hockey team. And this is our problem. We did not go down under in Australia to participate in the World Cup T20 with a cricket team. And because of that, the results showed we didn't have a captain, we didn't have a batting side, nothing. We just went for a holiday along with some persons that we call management. And all I am saying is that the die has been cast. It is the end for most of them.
Well, both yourself and Terry basically have said everything that I would want to say.
I think by yourself, I think you mean Hartley and Terry.
No, you mentioned the fact that.
Well, the offer comments don't come.
No, you mentioned the fact that after the announcement of the West Indies team, I remember being asked by you what were my thoughts on the prospects of the team.
Oh, on a previous occasion. Okay, I thought you meant on the show.
I remember saying that I really did not hold out a lot of expectations from the team. And so the fact, but now to get back to what Terry had to say, if you had told me that we from the group in which we participated, that we would not qualify for the next round, I would have doubted you. I would have disputed that. So I am not surprised, but still I well, basically I am seeing what was the word I'm looking for? This is a disgraceful performance as far as I'm concerned, even from the West Indies, given who they were up against in this qualifying round. But as I said, like Terry said, I expected we would qualify for the Super 12s and then take our place at the bottom of the round. But I didn't expect that we would be taking the bottom step. I mean, we finished at the bottom of the standings in that group. Believe it or not, check it and see the 2 points with the worst net run rate of the 4 teams. So we finished at the bottom of the qualifying group. That is not really had West Indies. They had West Indies at the bottom of the Super 12s.
Gentlemen, I have said before, time and time again, that I spoke with a former international cricketer for West Indies who, not the type of bowler that people would lose sleep over necessarily if they had to face him the next day, medium fast bowler. But he rose to as high, if I remember correctly, number 1 and number 2 on the one international charts. And I said to him on a couple of occasions, what's the secret behind your success? And all he said to me on each occasion was, it's in the preparation. Now, I didn't need him to tell me that you need to prepare, but it was good to hear that he saw the importance of preparation. And I know about the importance of preparation because it is relevant to cricket and to every aspect of life. You even prepare to go to bed, don't you? You want to lie down for maybe 6-8 hours and do nothing. Your body and everything is totally outside your control, but you got to prepare for it. There's nothing in life that you need to do that does not require preparation if it's going to be done well. So therefore, you would have heard me express concern in the same show you referenced, Wayne, about our lack of preparation. And one of the examples I would have used would be the selection of Correa. And this is not to say Correa is not this, that, the next. He might be the best leg spinner since Shane Warne. But the fact is that if you find yourself only discovering this, a man who's been playing cricket in the region for years, and you only now discovering that he's the next new Shane Warne a couple of weeks before the World Cup, it means you have not been preparing properly. And that is just one example. There can be many others, gentlemen. But let's be a bit more specific. Guys, what specifically went wrong, though, in this campaign?
But I don't...
Not all at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Right. I don't think he has enough time for this show to tell you all the things that went wrong.
Just pick your favorite thing.
And things have been going wrong for a while. Look, we did not get here by picking this team. We got here many moons ago. Many moons ago. Because if you look at our statistics at test group level, if you look at our statistics at ODI level, even T20 level that we say that we are good at, we don't have a winning percentage in any of the formats. We didn't get here last week. We were here a long while. It's just the issue is that we're pretending that we are not here. So I don't care who you pick. If you start wrong from a basis, a wrong setup, you will not produce something that is good. I don't care who it is. Something will always go wrong. And if you really look at it, West Indies cricket has been mediocre at best most of the times, interspersed with a couple of, brilliant performances, between, but not consistent. It's not consistent at all. I feel that we should start over, but obviously it's not practical. But we need to decide that there's a problem. And all these start showing you there's a problem. I didn't have to wait to be loose to Scotland to know there's a problem.
So basically, what do you think really needs to be done?
In this present group, right? Obviously, you can't, I firmly believe this, the group that will dominate world cricket at primary school right now. But we can't wait till the primary schoolers come onto the primary school. We got to play cricket now. So we got to have an honest assessment of what is happening right now. And what is happening right now? Our governance is in perpetual election mode. All of our decisions are based solely on if you're going to vote for me or not. And you can see every decision. Barbados did not support a president. Next thing here, Barbados is chief select. I mean, it's obvious. And we are going down the same road every time. And it is frustrating. And I'm not even a cricket person.
But don't sell yourself short, Terry. I think you're the only person in this group who actually went to some sort of national trial.
Yeah, but there's got in horse racing, right? There's got who came first, who came second, who came third, and then it's got also ran.
Okay.
Right? You're right. I was also ran. I also ran.
And the rest of us didn't even get in the starting block. So please, don't sell yourself so short. Hartley, what really can be done? Is it as bad as Terry says, or Terry's just being all doom and gloom as usual?
No, in fact, Terry has hit the ground running on this issue. We are actually in the doom and gloom because our administrators, and this is our problem. If you are working for anybody, they set the tone. They tell you what they want done, and they say, well, you want either do it this way or we're going to get rid of you. In cricket, there is no guidance. And we are going to start from the director of cricket. I do not talk about the CEO because the CEO runs the organization. He doesn't run the cricket. I normally say, let's talk about the cricket component. The CEO listens to the director of cricket. So let us say the director of cricket is not directing. The selectors are not selecting. The coaches can't coach. So what are you going to do now with the players? The players, when they are called to play, they're coming. And because there's no structure, when I hear people talking about the planning, fortunate enough for me, I have had the privilege to be at the level of regional cricket with the same coaching. The coaches do not plan to win anything. And because of that, the players just go there and leave it to the captain. So if the captain is not good, you know you're going to lose. And in essence, that is our problem. There is no guidance in our cricket. So you get the bowling order bad, you get the batting order is incorrect. So you do not get anywhere near the optimum from any of your players. And that is our problem. We have to now team the cricket as a business, and you will either produce or you get fired.
Wayne Holder, I could not believe what I was seeing when Akil Hussain came up to bowl that second over in the match against Ireland. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Puran being the captain and he shouldn't be captain and Simmons shouldn't be coach and all that. And then there are those like maybe Terry who would say, no, leave them. The problem goes deeper than that. Leave them until then we can rebuild this skyscraper. I don't know. I still believe that you need to maximize what you have. To what extent do you think a change of leadership, whether it be captain, whether it be the coach, would make a difference? Well, then you're the keeper. You're the one who's supposed to be stumping people. I seem to have stumped you.
You have stumped me because basically the problems that affect West Indies cricket really has nothing to do who bowled the second over, the first, the third, the fourth. Our problems go way, way deeper than that. And even the captains, the coaches, whatever, those really are not our major issues. Yes, I would agree that given the debacle that has taken place over the past week in Australia, demands that heads roll. It demands that it is not business as usual, and that people cannot be expected to be rewarded for failure. Yes, I agree with changing personnel from that perspective. But as I said, our problems, and I mean, it is every time Terry opens his mouth so far tonight, I've been telling myself it's a pity that I have to speak in this man's way, because I say the same thing that he's saying. We are experiencing the symptoms. We have a team that is not a world-class team. It's a mediocre at this level. It has been proven to be mediocre. And it is just because this team is part of a mediocre governance and a structural body. They are not part
so
of
what
it.
can be done? What can be done about that, Wayne? Realistically, what can be done about that in the medium to short term?
Well, I don't know what can be done in the medium to short term to alleviate that.
I would suggest you that there's not even a whole lot that can be done in the long term, because the only decision makers, or the highest level of decision making in Cricket West Indies, is, as far as I'm aware, the board of directors. Is that correct, Hartley?
You are very correct. The board of directors.
Right. And the board of directors are not going to fire themselves. They're not going to restructure anything that will take away their perks and their ability to do their politicking. Let's be real. Okay. So therefore, we've got to operate within that system. And I'm going to go to Terry. I'm going to borrow from Terry to try maybe to make my point. Terry, I recall having a discussion with you some time back. Well, others may have been involved as well, about a certain coach in Jamaica, track and field coach, who coached a number of the successful ladies on the world scene. You recall?
Yes.
Francis, what's his name again?
Yeah, Trevor Francis.
Yes, and he's the one who you pointed out coaches in less than ideal conditions, not so?
Correct.
Right.
He's coach in grass.
And you made the point back then. I don't even know what was the main body of the discussion, but I remember you making that point. Look what he can achieve by doing certain things. And you may have pointed out what those certain things are, but we don't need to go into all that now. The point is, you felt that in very ordinary conditions, because of the way he went about his business, he was able to produce top-class international athletes. Am I right?
Correct.
So I'm putting it to you that although we all know that the governance structure is poor, and we know all the things that are wrong, but if we are smart and aware and realistic, we also know those things are not going to change easily, and possibly not at all. So therefore, we got to do like Mr. Francis. We are coaching on grass, but we got to do better. And I don't agree with those who are saying that things are so poor, the structure is so poor that we can't do better. We did better when we had a captain called Darren Sammy because he was a leader. We did better when we had a coach called Otis Gibson because he was a good coach. But what has happened is we did better even when Mr. Pipers, the short time he was there. But every time that we've made steps forward with people like that, people who have shown some strong leadership, even if you didn't like them, every time we undid everything. We started to pull down. So I am not going along with all this talk about the only way we can never beat anybody again or be beaten is if we get all these pie in the sky things that are not achievable. We need to get stronger managers in position, selectors who are not in place because of perks, food, drinks, trips, hotels, whatever. And players, if you get those things in place, the players will have to come along, because if you've got a selector who's serious and a captain who is serious and the player is serious, he can get in the play. So that is my position, that yes, I think a change in leadership, whether that leadership be the director coaching, whether it be a change in leadership. But talking about changing the board and all that is just optimism, and we know that. Feel free to disagree, guys.
No, but you're right on all your points, right?
Thank you.
The only point that I am having issue with is, yes, Francis coaches on grass, but at least we have Francis is in place. Who will pick the Francis for the West Indies? The
Very
same
good
people,
question. Very
the
good
same
question.
can't,
Very
the
good
same
question.
people that
So that's
really
where
can't pick.
I got you. I've got you. I've got you.
They can't even pick lemons, really.
It is not that they can't. I don't believe it's that they can't. Come on, Terry. You're a basketballer and you're trying to convince us you don't know anything about cricket. So let us go with you. All right.
Yeah.
If you're a basketballer and you know a poor coach when you see one, you're trying to tell me that these people who are running West Indies cricket, most of them, if not all, have played cricket at some level, even his marble cricket, don't know that Phil Simmons has done nothing to develop West Indies cricket over the last 2-3 years. They don't know that. So therefore, it's a matter. You don't think they know that Puran is clueless when it comes to leading the cricket side? You think they don't know that? So therefore, it just means that enough pressure has to be brought to bear on them for them to make the necessary changes. And I think that you have a greater chance of bringing that pressure, whether it be through the individual boards, okay, who have got various stakes in it as well. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's certainly a lot easier than expecting the board to dig up itself and rewrite all sorts of regulations that can stop them from flying all around the world for free.
But Philip,
what's so different about the cricket West Indies as against all the other boards throughout the world of cricket, who have all identified the need to transpose the sport into the modern era and have all taken steps to reorganize their respective structures. You can go to India with where the court had to come in. I can take you to Australia, who have revived their structure. We all talk about New Zealand. What is so different about cricket West Indies that all these things can happen in all these places and it can't happen here?
I can tell you.
Okay, let Hartley go.
I
But
can
just
tell
to
you
say
what
that
difference.
I could answer that, but I have to try to think of a way I can answer it without that I can use in this forum. So I'll let Hartley go. But when you're not, let's put. I'll just say this much. I would just say this much. When you're not accustomed,
we all can understand.
when you're not accustomed, when certain things really mean so much to you. I mean, I'm involved with sports administration in sports where they're in a cent to gain as an administrator. But you'd be surprised to see what a guy would do even for a trip. You know, so there are things that there are advantages. We may not be able to put our finger on it, but there are things that mean so much to these people that it might not mean anything to you, so you would never think. But I can't speak to cricket specifically what these attractions are, but I can speak to one or two other sports that I'm closely involved in. I can tell you there's some people that would maybe just stop short of killing somebody just to get on a plane. Sorry, Hartley. Your turn.
Philip, the whole issue is that Wayne wants to know about the West Indies is not a country. The West Indies is not a flag. So every person, every entity that plays cricket except the West Indies is a country. So we have a collection of six territories, 2 from each territory coming together and currying favors with the president. So our structure right now has nothing to do with integrity. So we have to look past the board. I do not look at the board.
I don't think you'll find that. I don't think you'll find that word in any Caribbean cricket dictionary.
Well, so what we do, come one step down. You come now to the people who are actually running the cricket. So the CEO and the director of cricket, these are the ones who must produce a product that the board cannot refuse and that the stakeholders in all of the territories will praise and support. And that is where we are lacking. We have nobody who is producing the product because we are selecting the wrong material to produce a good product.
By material, you're talking about the players? You're talking about the players? When you say
No, the players. I have said it, and I would go on record again. Our players are not much worse than the others. We are not that far below. But the difference between our players and the ones that I taught is that the ones that I taught work to stay there. They work hard. They put in the 9 yards.
Okay, so Hartley, so when you say we're selecting, you're talking about we're selecting the wrong administrators then?
Yes.
Okay, but Hartley, let me take you up on what you said just now about our players not being vastly different. I asked a question today in a different forum, and I was kind of busy and didn't necessarily get to check 30 to see how many people responded. But when last I checked, there was only one response, and it was from the same guy, Terry Inniss, who was very polite. So even if I'm talking foolishness and asking silly questions, he would respond because that's why he was brought up. But here was what I threw out. I wanted my colleagues in that forum to identify for me in the two teams that defeated us, because we can't worry about Australia right now. They're too high up the ladder. We gotta get past these teams that we like to call minnows first, because they're beating us pretty consistently. So and at crucial times. So in the Ireland side and in the Scotland side, you can even go in Zimbabwe, although we beat them. I want you guys to tell me who the power hitters are. These big power hitters that we say we don't have. We were saying we're going to power hitters now. Gail done, Pollard gone, Russell gone. We complain we don't have power hitters. Who are the power hitters in Ireland, in Scotland, in Zimbabwe? Who are the power hitters? We talk about Brooks. Brooks not suited to this, and this body not suited to that. But I want to know who are the players in the Ireland side, the Scotland side, and Zimbabwe who have more impressive numbers that would suggest they are ball beaters more so than Brooks and Brandon King and those guys. Can anybody explain that to me? Can anybody identify them for me? You want me to save you the trouble?
Yeah, we don't exist. We'll be here for a while.
They don't exist. Ireland and Scotland didn't beat us because they have power hitters and they have batsmen who have more fantastic records than us in various formats. That's not the general situation. They beat us because of their planning, because of their decision making, because of their discipline, because of their seriousness, and there may be some other things that you guys can throw in.
You are suggesting that all these things don't exist in West Indies?
I'm saying, well, the planning to begin with does not exist up to the required standard. And if the planning doesn't exist to the required standard,
so you're also denying that this is as a result of poor management. And I'm not talking about Phil Simmons and Roddy Eswick. I'm talking about poor management of cricket throughout the region at every single level.
I don't know why you would think that I've denied it. But what I'm saying to you is that if you go to the doctor and you have a number of complaints, there's some that he cannot solve. Does that mean he should say, go home and die? Or should he try to solve the ones that he probably has an opportunity to solve? So you're saying that we cannot solve our governance issues? I'm saying that it is not something that can be solved in the short term if it requires restructuring the board. Because who's going to make the board restructure itself? Let's be realistic.
Who did it in India? Who did it in India?
We're not in India. And I think Hartley just explained certain things to you. And if you didn't understand them, I surely did. So the culture is different. It's a different culture.
Oh man,
it's not a different culture.
How has we transformed ourselves from a slave society to the society that we are today?
Have we?
Yes, we have. The fact that you and I are here today now having this discussion is part of that.
But you do recognize, though. You do recognize that. But here's the point, Wayne. Here's the point, Wayne. Yes, you and I are sitting here today, and we're not slaves in the sense that they were before. But I would think you do recognize that there are elements of it that still exist and still affect how we do business and how we treat each other. Is that right or wrong?
I will not deny that.
Okay. So I'm saying you don't necessarily get to solve all the problems. You've got to work with the ones that can get you to do better first.
But you know that we're a republic today.
We are?
There was a time when we dared not even mention the word republic to the powers that be. But today, Barbados is a republic.
Well, Ben, it's very simple. If you believe, right, that we need to have everything right before we can play better cricket. Well, I accept that. That's what your belief.
What I am saying is that from what I get coming from you in particular, is that we could as well throw our hands in the air and finish with the whole thing.
No, that's what I get coming. That's what I get coming from you. What I'm saying is, let me try to summarize it. What I'm saying is, there are serious problems in West Indies cricket, starting from the top all the way down to the bottom. I accept that, but I also accept that it's unrealistic to expect that those will change in the medium to short term, and may not even in the long term, but certainly not in the medium to short term. But we got cricket to be played. Cricket needs to be played. So here is where I am at. What can we do?
I totally disagree with you.
You don't think
we're not going to get? Let's agree to disagree.
What we disagreeing on, though? I don't mind disagreeing, but on what point you're disagreeing?
the fact that you are telling me that there's nothing that can be done.
I said in the medium to short term, man, Holder.
And I say no.
So you think that we can get a new government structure by the time we set off for Australia for the Test series?
Well, we're not talking about for the Test series.
But when I'm talking about the Test series, I'm not just talking about white ball cricket. We
are talking about the foreseeable future.
Wayne,
okay.
Terry and Hartley, or one or the other, or maybe both, pointed out that cricket still has to be played. Okay? That is where I'm at. I ain't in this point, this sky dreaming thing. Cricket got to play from next week. And I'm saying that there are things that can be, that a process that can start now. Where it will end, who knows?
So you're suggesting that there's a possibility that we could beat Australia in this upcoming Test series?
I said you're not listening to me. You're very selective about what you're hearing. I said about 5 minutes ago, let's forget about beating Australia. We got to beat these little people first. Right. But whether we beat, it's not only about beating. You got to play better cricket. It's not only beating. We not only lost to Ireland. I don't know if you all realize that we look real bad. It isn't only that we lost, we lost to Kenya and it didn't cause this. Okay, so it is not just that we lost; it is that we don't even seem to know what's going on around the cricket. Terry, you want to get in? And
this is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, Terry. Go ahead.
My issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
My issue. I understand what Philip said. Philip got a good point. The issue I have, right, is okay. Let's say the management, the coaching is, to me. I didn't mark Phil Simmons high as a coach, because he failed coaching 101. And it didn't have anything to do with if he come from Trinidad, if he played 100 and somebody tests, that had nothing to do with it. To me, if you're trying to change somebody's attitude and somebody's technique, I think 2 weeks and I can't do it. I don't care if he's Houdini, it still ain't gonna happen. So my issue is who will pick the people that will make the right decisions. That is where I am at.
Who picked Otis Gibson?
Who fired him?
But who picked him?
Yeah, but he's fired.
Yes, what I'm saying is that we have had good captains and good coaches selected before.
But you know that but you're aware that this same Phil Simmons was the coach of the 2016 World Cup winning team.
Very aware.
Who picked him?
I'm very aware. But do you realize who picked him? Well, this is what I'm saying. So you guys are acting as though it's impossible for the guardians of the sport. That is difficult. I don't think it's difficult, right? I think you just got to call them out. You got to call them out and keep the pressure on. And people are afraid to say that there is more concern now about giving control to one of the 6 entities that Hartley described. And it's more about that politicking than it is about developing a cricket team. You've got to call that out and you've got to keep the pressure on. If we try to pretend that it's not so and that selections are made, Correa went on that trip, he went for plane ride. You're going to take a man who has not played T20 internationals and on the strength of 3 one-day internationals, one of which he went for 80 runs. 80 runs. 8-0. And you're going to tell me he was so fantastic that you're going to put him in a T20 World Cup team. He's never played at that level, not even at the franchise level. He's hardly played 2 or 3 T20 games. And you're going to take him up there and you're going to play in a qualifying tournament with the weakest teams out of the teams trying to play. Because obviously the teams that in the qualifying round will be weaker than the teams that already gone straight in there. Not so? And you can't play the man in one of those games. You can't play him in one of those games. What's he doing there?
But you ain't play a cultural either. You ain't play a Reverend Reefer. Listen, we
Hartley,
we are
you didn't play
issues,
Cottrell
but
and you didn't play Raymond Reefer, right? I agree, but you had other batsmen that you played. Okay, you had more batsmen than you needed. In fact, the last game, not only did Raymond Reefer not play, Brooks got dropped as well. Okay, in terms of the fast bowlers, you had McCoy, you had Joseph, you had Holder. Obviously, all the fast bowlers can play. You had one spinner, in Akil Hussain.
slow bowler. He ain't a spinner.
Okay,
He's a
so what I'm
slow
saying
bowler.
is, yes,
Listen to me.
there are people
But
that
me,
didn't play. There are people that didn't play Hartley,
Philip,
but you needed the extra spinner and you didn't have the confidence to try him out. You see, the thing about it is, you could bring in Reefer or any of those guys in the Super 12 because those guys have all been exposed to international cricket already, whether it be in T20, one day international or test, right or wrong. This guy career is new,
yes, you are quite
untried. And if you can't try him, if you can't start him against the weakest teams, you can play him against Australia. You want Kelly?
But Philip, you can't tell why Correa wasn't given a play because he's a Trinidadian, the coach is a Trinidadian, the captain is a Trinidadian. So you can't say that he was left up for whatever reason.
But you know exactly explain what I was trying to say all along. I'm saying that he only went there the reasons you just outlined. Clearly,
but Philip,
he could not have gone there as a match winner.
To me, it's even simpler than that, right?
Probably so.
How can you blood somebody in a World Cup?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and if you can blood them, you gotta blood them against the weakest teams, Terry.
But you don't have left the Caribbean. You cannot blood somebody in a World Cup. They're saying you're gonna play on the 15 cricket. You're gonna play against the best teams in the world. You don't blood somebody in a World Cup. That Jamaica again saying somebody that never run 100 meters to represent them at 100 meters in the Olympics. The only people that would do that is the Caribbean and Caribbean cricket.
So Terry,
I don't get that.
So Terry, you understand why I'm saying that although there are some serious medical problems, medical issues with the body known as cricket West Indies and cricket in the Caribbean community, there are also some medical issues that can be addressed. So if a guy has terminal cancer, okay, you might not be able to do much to help him. But if he turns up in some pain, you realize that his appendix is about to burst, what you can do, you can say, well, you know what? Lay dead, man, because he can die in a year or two from the cancer. No, you got to do the operation to take out the guy's appendix. Not so. Yeah, so all I'm saying is, let us fix the things that are easier to fix. Now, you might try to take out the appendix, he may still die. But the point is, you're not going to say we can die anyhow. So until then, we can find a cure for his medical issues. Let it go. Come on.
Okay, so I can use the same analogy. If I go and pick an architect to do that surgery, because basically that's what we're doing.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to get Wayne Holder to come into the real world because Wayne Holder want to sit down and wait till then we can rebuild the whole house, all 10 stories.
Yeah, no, I want to get rid of the architect immediately.
Thank you. So now we agree on something.
Yeah, we will and
all of his assistants.
And immediately, and don't tell me it can't happen because the architect is not going to fire himself. It has to happen, or the patient will certainly die.
Well, you may think anyhow.
I want to get back to a point that you raised actually earlier about preparation.
Yeah,
and I want to take us back to the 2022 international/regional season where West Indies embarked on a program of fixtures against various opposition. We brought, I think, who came down here this year? England came.
You want to take us back to where you said?
Everybody.
Early this year.
I'm talking about this summer. Yeah, this international.
Okay. Yes. You don't need to identify. There were a number of them. So you don't want to lose the point.
We embarked with the understanding. We were given the understanding that this was the preparation, the beginning of that word again. Our preparation for the World Cup. And we were experimenting, we were rotating, we were trying players, we were trying different players in different roles, and the whole shebang. And I think we definitely played more than 10 T20 matches over that period of time. So much so then that by the time we got to the CPL, we had basically established a full nucleus of what our best one-day team looked like, our best T20 team looked like.
Okay.
Right? What did we proceed to do after then came the CPL. And we used the CPL as an excuse to uproot a lot of the and do a lot of that work, a lot of that planning that had gone into place.
May support you, may come in here and support you a bit.
Right, and I'm going to, yes, you may. I was someone.
So therefore, Shamar Brooks came into the West Indies side somewhere around that same summer you talked about. And he had some good scores and some not so good scores. But in the last time he batted, he scored a half century. I think we won that match, didn't we?
I couldn't say it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we won. He didn't cause us to lose again. All right. Then he came into the CPL, as you were talking about, and we took it a little bit, we went to the CPL and they just allowed it to change things. To the point where a man who they were moaning and groaning didn't want to train now gets in the side before Shamar Brooks, whose last innings was a half century that did not hurt the team. And I can hold on to that because when Scotland beat us Munzee half century, then fast. Okay. We get too caught up with this toy called strike rate. But at the end of the day, trying to win a match. So if I can score 40 somebody runs per 100 balls and win the match, why do I need to score 150? But I digress. So yes, Shamar Brooks, what I'm trying to say, is an example of what you're talking about, where we saw certain things happening and we allow ourselves to be influenced by CPL. And I can go further. We also allowed ourselves to be influenced by politics because Evan Lewis and scoring runs in the CPL. Continue, Holder.
But I really have nothing more to say. That's why I allowed you to come forward. I knew you was going to say what I was about to say.
Oh, you leave me to do the donkey. You let me to do the donkey work.
You volunteered. But the bottom line is, I'm give an example. Brandon King and Kyle Mears. By the time we got to the CPL, we had come to the understanding, wow, we have found the opening pair. We have found an opening pair for T20 cricket. We're going into the World Cup. I would have liked to believe that was the pair that we were going to the World Cup with. Just as you said, Johnson Charles, I would like to see make a few frightened runs. And all of a sudden...
Who was frightening, the bowlers or Johnson Charles? You don't have to answer that.
The runs were frightened. The runs. Make a few frightened... I shouldn't say that. I misspeak properly. Got a few frightened runs. And all of a sudden, there was this clamor that Johnson Charles has to play in the World Cup. This is after you had gone through a whole summer and brought Brandon King and Kyle Mears
as your openers.
So you already disrupted your preparation. Well, I don't even know what to say about the Evan Lewis thing. Because that one confounded me. That totally confounded me.
Did that confound you as much as a cricketer? And people say talk about Ross and Chase too much. I can talk about anybody or about anything that I feel is wrong. And our cricket is not good enough that a man can get 6 wickets at just over 5 runs and over a period of 3 matches against India in India and gets dropped when you come back home some months later for the home series. And then you can go and fool the public by saying the man was injured. The man was injured when the one international team was selected after. Sorry?
Philip, listen. Let me stay here. Let me stay in the present. Stay in the present. Because you and me.
We talking about
and you have
all this is part of
the wait a minute. Listen, I can hear you. Okay. All I am saying is that you all are skirting the issue. The problem is that we have a head selector and his cronies and they throw everything out of the whack because you cannot say on one hand, that you went through a series of tournaments, bringing people to the region to play them. Not full cricket. It's not franchise cricket. You brought people here to play West Indies against
bilateral
another
international,
territory. Yes,
bilateral international.
And you said the reason for that was for a purpose to prepare your team, and then you go into it on a kerchief. Don't you all realize that franchise cricket is played for the crowd? So you reduce the size of the field so that if you miss it, the ball leaves the ground. You go to Australia now and you have got an international test side. The field is that. And we still had Evan Lloyd and Co, Kyle Mayer, all of them trying to clear the boundary and getting caught 3, 5, and 6 and 7 meters from the road. Get rid of Desmond Haynes. Get rid of the selectors. All of them. Just get rid of them. We have to get it. Look, I have come from a disciplined organization. And earlier today, people talk about discipline. You, Philip, talk about discipline. Elk talk about discipline. Because nothing can be achieved if discipline is not the bedrock of it. And right now, we have no discipline in our selection policy. We have no discipline on who we invite to trials. We have no discipline in our training of our players. When we do invite them, you do not work them because you don't want to get them tired. They complain. So they do the least amount of work. But then you go in and the umpire calls play and you expect to get the best operation out of them. It doesn't work. Listen, let me tell you something. The best of bowlers will tell you the greats. And I ain't going to the Garners as Elton said, we'll be going back in the archive. The modern day fast bowlers, they bowl hours upon hours, 5 days a week. They train, if you're Pakistani, the Indians, they run through the mountains. They're trained to be professionals. We have Saiga boys trying to play cricket, and then we both the players trying to find reasons as to why we are losing because we are not preparing.
Well, I don't need to say anything more.
Yeah, it was a little stumped there after that.
Sorry?
I was a little stumped after that.
Okay. Well, you don't need to say anything more, really. I mean, if that is the reality, that's what it is. You know,
yeah,
what I'm going to do? You make your point, and then I'm going to throw something at you.
Right. So, I think our issues. I agree with you, Philip. On the long run, that if we break down everything, that ain't gonna happen. But we gotta deal with certain things. But my underline, the thing that gnawing at me all the time is, are we going to put the right people in place? That is where I have my issue. Because if I put a solution who wasn't supporting me, do I now not get the support of Guyana? Or do I not get support of Trinidad? So we make decisions based on votes, not based on cricket. And that's where I got my issue. I can't see how we can pick the right coach when we want somebody to vote for us.
I think there's a way that I understand the problem. Don't think that I don't understand that. All I'm saying is that I don't see a solution to changing that structure in the short term. If you know how to do it, tell me, or if anyone knows how to do it. So I'm saying I'm going to find other solutions to other things that will help me to be better, hoping that, or trying, even as I try to find a solution to the major things. But you can't just stay up and do nothing. And one thing I would try, and again, I can't promise you, Terry and Wayne and Hartley, that whatever I suggest, I'm so good that I know it can work. Any suggestion I make is coming from the position that I know what is being done now and working. Correct. So as long as I'm not doing like some people we see in different platforms and on social media and who feel they must defend West Indies no matter what. I ain't that simple-minded. Okay? I will praise you for what you do that is good. And even as bad as we are, I'm sure that if we work hard enough and think long enough, we can find some good things that Cricket West Indies have done, even in terms of leading up to this. The mere fact that they brought teams are allowed, that there was a roster, a set of fixtures that allowed that. That in itself was a good thing, wasn't it? So it is not that you cannot compliment what is good. But I'm not going to have any fear of calling out what I think is wrong. I'm not going to defend something. I don't know. If I want a Coke or a glass of juice, I can go and buy it. I don't need to defend anything for any purpose. Let me hold a minute, Hartley. So what I'm saying is, if I hurt you, go. Because you go forget.
To whom do the persons in charge of West Indies cricket report?
When you say the person in charge, the directors?
No, they're not in charge of the cricket.
Who you mean?
I'm talking about
the backroom staff?
Because remember, you have said exactly because you have made the salient point. We can't change. You can't really baby the bathwater. Yeah. Cricket still has to be played.
Right.
So right now, we have to ask the people that hold rank with them, Simmons, or the and Cole. I don't even know them. Tell me what happened here. Let me hear what strategies you all developed so that these fellas could go there and produce at their optimum. This is what we have to do. Because right now we have to get them producing. Now, unless we are going to say that they are no good and they cannot produce, and you got right now we have Jason Holder, who is still the best number one around the world. So you can't have the number one or number two or number three, whatever number is that, and say that we don't have a product. What we can say is that we are not getting the maximum from the product. And the only way you can get the maximum, yes, sir, go ahead.
No. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm totally with you there. And let's look at England, Hartley. England went through, I don't remember the numbers offhand, but they had a horrible record in Test cricket in recent times where they lost, they failed to win. I think they had one win out of like 15. Horrible.
17.
Horrible test.
17 matches they have been in.
And that was home, away, on the moon. That was their record. England's structure is not perfect either. Nobody's structure is perfect. But England did two things. And you saw a turnaround almost immediately in fortune. What were those two things, Hartley?
They got rid of the person in charge of the cricket and the captain.
Well, that would have the three. The two that I was thinking of, the coach and the captain. If there was another, well, you remind me. The coach was changed. All right. The guy from New Zealand, McCallum, came in. And the captain, Stokes, took over from Root. And we saw in front of our very eyes with the same virtually 11, 12, 13 men. We saw not only different results, Hartley, because remember saying it only about results. We saw a different approach to the cricket. And you all telling me that we can only get better if we build a 10-story thing and put in a bundle of elevators and think, come on. Sometimes there's simple things that you can do that will make a big difference. And I'm saying that while we have major problems, sorry?
The difference between us and England is that they had, once you got rid of the director of the cricket, the coach, and the captain, and you installed the new ones, the powers that be did not interfere with the planning. They allowed them to implement what they wanted to implement.
Point that I'm trying to make being, Hartley, that even although England may still have some issues, there's a significant difference in how they approach the task. And only 3 people were changed: the captain, the coach, and the director. So while I agree that West Indies has multiple problems, don't tell me that changing the captain can make no difference. Puran does not have a clue what to do. Even people in Trinidad, even people I know in Trinidad are telling me we're not captain nothing yet. Not a clue.
He never captain.
Phil Simmons
Not
has
even the
not.
gap.
Phil Simmons since
Not even the gap.
2016 when he impressed when he helping Sammy and the others win the World Cup. Since then, he's not done anything. Look, I'm not a big I like football. I like football, huh? But I really follow it that closely. But I follow it enough to know that Tottenham had a coach within the last 2 years that took them to the finals of the European Cup for the first time. If I'm wrong, anyway, just stop me, fellas. And less than a year later, he was gone. Why? Because he didn't get any results after that.
So you're not going to give Baz McCullum a year. You're going to pronounce on Baz McCullum no.
How we get talking about Baz McCullum?
Because you know.
Oh, you're saying that if he loses, maybe.
If I'm saying that, given time, your perspective can easily be changed
because a coach and a captain have shelf life
of a year.
Oh no!
Listen, having said that,
some prime ministers have a shelf life of 45 days.
Let's get out there.
Some leaders have a shelf life of 45 days.
All I'm saying is that we judge Phil Simmons by one.
You can't judge Phil Simmons by something. You can't judge a coach in 2022. Hello, you can't judge a coach when you cannot judge a coach in 2022 by something you achieved in 2016.
But that was never my intention. That was never. You were telling me that the people who selected Phil Simmons to carry the team to Australia in this current tournament are flawed in their decision making.
No, that's not what I said. I'm saying that Simmons has gone to Australia. It hasn't been a disaster. Time to move on.
But why would you not? Why would you jump on? Why would you jump on that? Let me tell you something. The only reason why Phil Simmons is still in the cricket is because he had a 4-year contract, and they don't want to fire him and pay him out. But any other sport and discipline, he would have been fired and telling
gentlemen, we're not going to agree on everything. And if we agreed on everything, I would be concerned. Because we have 2 wicket keepers. A guy who tried to bowl some leg breaks and a basketballer.
Well, I know wicket keeper. I'm a man with a brain. I am a man with an understanding. A man who has followed cricket from the time I stepped out of my mother's womb. I've been involved in cricket.
Yes.
I understand cricket. I have a cricket sense. I'm not no wicket keeper.
But I'm not disputing that because you were the first one to say that you don't sound like most of the chance. So I ain't arguing with you. But listen, guys. Okay, guys. So we need to make some. I was tempted to say make some sense of it, but that might imply that we'll not be making sense. We need to put things in perspective that can be easily understood what we are saying here. So here's the thing. What are the next steps? The next steps.
I want to say something now because
before we get to the next steps.
No, next steps.
Oh, next steps.
Yeah, because I understand what you're saying. My thing is we need a different direction. Even if we don't get rid of we can't get rid of the hierarchy. At least let me move the director of cricket. Let me move the coach and his staff, and let me set up the cricket, actually do some evaluation. Because I think that we need to sit down and do some evaluation of our players. Right?
Okay, right, go ahead. Right. I'm trying to make it simpler, right? I want the next steps to be simple so that anybody who is listening to us, even if they don't have a pen to make a note, is going to be that simply put over. That is very clear what they need. So that if somebody wanted to actually use Terry's plan, they can implement it even without having to call you tomorrow to get clarification. So break it down for us. The next steps.
Right. So
no more than 3.
Yeah, I fired the director of cricket. Just pay him out, make him, he did a good
fire the director of cricket. That's all you need to tell us.
Director of cricket. Then I will install a new director. Understand that we're firing the coach as well. Right?
So your next steps, replace the director of cricket, replace the coach.
Yes. And then look at honestly doing some honest evaluation of our players. I mean, when I say that, I mean break it down to their strengths, their weaknesses. I mean, just break it right down and let it build from there. Who will be playing what? Who will not be playing what? And go from there. That's as simple as I could get it.
I understand it. So if I understand it, it got to be simple. Hartley,
okay.
Your next step.
Let me add. No, I am going to add to because Terry has started the ball.
No.
You cannot hit
Hartley.
No, listen to me.
That's his model. If your model is the same as his, that's okay. But don't bring Terry into this.
But exactly. So how many more models you want? Because this is our problem. We are looking at too many models now. Simply put, along with the getting rid of the people who have us at rock bottom, we're going to have to set targets now. This is what I want to have. We have to set.
So your next step is to set targets.
And every person.
Okay, so your next step
targets.
Set targets for the staff.
Whoever comes in. Whoever comes in.
Right.
To rebuild West Indies cricket.
So your first step, it sounds like you're saying whoever comes in. So it seems to me that you're saying your first step is to replace some people and set targets for the people that are coming in.
Yes.
Okay, so right. Anything else?
Yes.
That's it for you for now.
But yes.
Okay, good. Remember I said next steps. Next. So next because more will follow, but this is just for now. So we're holding.
But I have been following this cricket thing from
your mother's womb.
From the 60s. No, international cricket.
Okay.
Cricket was from my mother's womb. International cricket was from the 60s.
Okay.
I would have observed that the managers of West Indies cricket mainly were persons of a different hue to mine.
Mm-hmm.
As far as color is concerned.
But we got you.
And over the years,
as I tell you, once I understand something, anybody can understand it.
Over the years, we have seen the colors of the faces change. But nothing else has changed as far as I'm concerned, or not much has changed as far as I'm concerned. I just want to make that point. And that our problems, as I don't care what anybody else may think, I believe that our problems the root of our problems lie in the way we manage the game, and we have allowed the game to almost disintegrate into nothingness. Now, as far as the immediate future is concerned,
the next steps, yes.
I know I might be accused of following fashion, but as a matter of fact, I was promoting this even before the English came up with the idea. Separate white ball cricket from test cricket. I have a set of people dedicated, whether it be managers, coaches, strategists. They have a set of people who are going to be responsible exclusively for white ball cricket, for the selection of the teams, the coaches that are involved, and the strategies and whatever else that may go with it.
Okay.
That would be my first order of business.
Okay.
Set up, and of course, Phil Simmons with me in charge would get to keep his job as coach of the test team.
He hasn't lost a test match this year.
He would get to keep his job in the test team as the coach of the test team for the time being. But
so you found it. You remind me of another. You remind me of another administrative body. You found the job for an ineffective work. But go ahead.
No, I haven't found it.
You don't have to respond to that, Wayne.
I told all the virtues that England did the same thing. What's wrong when I do it?
Then that was an aside that obviously you didn't pick up on. Carry on.
I got to clear myself. Like I say. So Phil Simmons gets to keep his job as the red ball coach, but I don't want to see him and his group anywhere near my white ball setup.
Okay.
Right. So that would be my
your first step.
My first step. Well,
you don't have to have a second and a third at this point if you don't have one that comes to mind. I said no more than 3, could be less.
I don't know how helpful they would be. Get rid of Puran and put somebody else and the team.
But you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. You can keep Puran.
No, I don't want to keep Puran, but who else would I get? I know Puran, as you said, Puran. No, be honest with you. Again, you see, Puran, I think that we have done him a disservice.
We have. And West Indies cricket.
That young man has displayed potential and an ability as a batter, as they call it.
To the point where you want to put him in the test team.
Yes, to that point, at one point,
exactly. Yeah.
And please don't put words in my mouth. I never suggested that he be put in the test team. I said he should be encouraged to pursue.
Okay. But he had to be performing for you to say that. So I'm trying to support the point that you're making.
But not that I called for him in the test team or for what he did playing.
Okay.
20 cricket, as I said. But Puran is of too much value as a batter. On all this batter thing, because it left me with a puzzle. So if we can no longer say a batsman, we can't say a batsmanship. Because it's a battership if we're talking about batting.
Okay, so the level of his battership is such that you want him to pursue that. Go ahead.
But yes, I wanted him to pursue I mean, again, we've got stories of other persons being pursued. I mean, there was a time when West Indies selectors and management was behind Evan Lewis to get him to get interested.
But we're going off track, man. The next step.
I'm not going off track.
We are, because we need to wrap, and I just want to get the steps.
Okay, so what the point I'm making, Puran take the captaincy, and give him the freedom to get back to what he does best.
Okay.
Batting and scoring runs. So those are my two steps. Separate the red ball and let Puran concentrate on batting and find somebody to captain the team then.
Okay, well, I'm not even going to attempt to do the 3 next steps. All I would say is that somewhere along the line, I would like to see the white ball cricketers, and this is not to contradict what you're saying, Wayne, because by the time you get to that point of separation, there'll be other things that should have happened. But where I'm going with this is that I think that if we continue to try to recruit white ball cricketers purely from white ball cricket, or T20 cricketers purely from T20 cricket, we are going to be frustrated.
Please let it be said. Please let it be said that Wayne Holden never said that as well.
I never said that's what you wanted.
But I want it to be said that
relax,
I said.
Wayne. Relax. I'm saying to you that if we continue, that I understand what you're saying. I'm not interfering with your strategy, and what I'm saying does not impact on your strategy at all, because I'm talking about recruitment. No, you're talking about team selection and training and preparation and so on. The two should be separate. What I'm saying is that in the initial stages, recruitment, now you're looking for new players. Don't look for them as we do now in T20 cricket and pick people from T20 cricket. That will not work. It hasn't worked for anybody. Okay. I would say it's not really worked. We need to develop our cricketers first, and then out of the best cricketers, our white ball people will emerge. So what I'm saying is I would like to see the day when we recognize the importance of red ball cricket at the developmental level. I think that's the best way you can sum it up. Red ball cricket, long form cricket at the developmental level. And when I say developmental, I don't only mean primary school, all the way up. So therefore, Puran, with that methodology or that strategy in place, Puran would never have made my T20 side to start with. He would have had been playing red ball cricket.
But I think, though, that our problem was never really about developing cricketers at the white ball level. Our initial problem, don't forget, our problem started with the advent of the IPL, where a number of our better players, and not even better, our best players. I mean, when you talk about Chris Gayle, you're talking about one of the greats of the game. The Dwayne Bravos and the Sunil Narines and the like. These were the best cricketers in the Caribbean. And after the advent of the white ball game, these people opted not to play the red ball cricket. It had nothing to do with our development strategy. That's the point that I'm making. And it continues today. I mean,
thanks for making my point for me. When Chris Gayle and those guys opted to go to the IPL and all the different franchises, those guys were outstanding cricketers already. Because when they were developing, there wasn't all this T20 and all that. Those fellas learned to bat and bowl playing red ball cricket. So they simply took the cricketing skills and changed it to accommodate the white ball cricket.
You
That is not
said
the
it.
case. That is not the case with Evan Lewis. It's not the case with Puran. These are guys who played 1 or 2 first-class games, got themselves contracts, and then forgot all about red ball cricket. All I'm saying is that I would be different from the management that exists now. You can go and play in all the franchises you want. I don't have a problem with that. But you ain't getting into any of my teams until you show me that you are a proper cricketer. And you can only show me that when you can bat. But when you come back, and especially when you come back for more than 45 minutes.
Even though these guys have proven to be
somebody said to me, okay, during the we're doing some commentary, and West Indies was in trouble as they were in all the games. And somebody said, I think it was Lewis. Yeah, it was Lewis actually. Lewis, you got to bat deep now. You got to bat deep. Obviously, he can hear it. This is in the commentary box, and one day fellow commentator, you got to bat deep. You got to bat deep. And I said to him and the others who were there, and they didn't argue. They didn't do like Wayne Hold and try to make me think I talking foolishness. I said to them, how many times in the last year has Evan Lewis batted for 45 minutes? And it was as though a light turned on. Even in my own mind, although it was me that said it. How many times in the last year, guys, Evan Lewis would have batted for 45 minutes? I don't mean any nets in any game. But you don't want the guy to bat for over an hour.
Does that play cricket?
Huh? He's hardly played. And when he's played, he has been a 12th man for the IPL. When he's been in the team, he make out for 6 and 10 and 15. Okay? So in the last year, and I could extend it to 2, how often has Evan Lewis batted for 45 minutes? But you want Evan Lewis now, because we in trouble, to go and dig in and bat maybe for over an hour. It didn't happen in any of the games. He struggled, he looked tortured, and then eventually got out because the concentration level can't go past 25 minutes.
You just call it in because Puran.
So, but I just use Evan Lewis as an example because he was the person that was under discussion when the comment was made. The same applies to all of them who do not play and who've never played any serious amount of red ball cricket. So I don't care how many runs they score in the IPL. I will not allow myself to be fooled anymore. I don't blame the selectors and the Cricket West Indies for being fooled initially because you didn't know. But now we know that the people without the red ball background don't last. So you can still allow them to fool you? Thanks to...
I don't buy that argument, no, but...
No, you don't have to buy it. You can buy the West Indies argument. You can buy the argument that causes us to just get beat.
From the perspective that these people, a number of these people of which we speak, any scale of measurement have proven to be the better exponents of the T20 game.
How recently?
Okay, recently people form is temporary.
But on what size grounds? Wayne, on what size grounds? Wayne, on what size grounds?
Hartley and Wayne, take that off air where we finish. Let's get closing comments from Terry if he has any.
Right. So it has been eye-opening. I mean, here being here. But I agree with you when it comes to I think someone that can bat can improvise in the T20 game to like score faster and that sort of stuff. I think you got to start out from a position of knowing the fundamentals of batting. I think that is the crux of the matter. Just being able to hit a ball over the boundary and that to me that is not showing really good batsmanship. So when you're not in form and you're not seeing the ball or the ball is not coming in slot to slug, then you can't score any runs because you really cannot bat. You understand what I mean? Because batting is about occupation decrease. And that's the issue that we're having right now.
Adaptation.
These fellas don't understand.
To adapt.
Yeah, you got to have the fundamentals. You can't tell me that Bolt get up, like at 4 years old and start running at, 9.5. He had to go through a certain amount of steps. And I think that we are trying, but that comes because we want to pull that person to win a game.
The word is force right. The word is force right there.
We want to succeed, but we don't want to go through the process.
The word is force right. Don't stress yourself. Win. Yeah. Sorry, Hartley.
Yes.
Any closing comments? Briefly.
Yes. We have not gone past the crossroads. We don't want to call this out. So the only thing you can do now is turn, a U-turn, and come back out. And come back out playing proper cricket. Let the batters bat, let the bowlers bowl consistently in the life, and we can get back to among in the areas of competing.
Win.
I'm going to close with a question. Nobody needs to answer. Is it close? Is T20 cricket?
No.
Thanks to Hartley Reid. Thanks to the basketballer, Terry Inniss. And the biggest thank you of all to the holder who has left us with a puzzling question that only Hartley has been able to make an immediate response. Guys, thanks for joining us. And we look forward to some more interaction because I don't think that this fiasco, the discussion on this fiasco will end anytime soon. That's our show. Thanks for watching. Join us again soon for another episode of Anything Cricket. Let's talk.